Welcome everybody to the Starlight Lounge, where we're going to learn about releasing your creative genius with the wisdom of the stars. And I just want to say a massive, massive thank you for being here, because the best gift that we can give each other is belief. And when I saw you all registering for this webinar, I was like, yay, my tribe are with me. They believe in me. Let's, and it just gave me that like courage to go for it. So first of all, I just want you to introduce yourselves. Now, the chat seems to be disabled for some reason, so you can just do it in the Q&A. Because basically you all come from like 3 different tribes. That I've got my hippie tribe, and I've known some of you for nearly 30 years from doing rainbow summer camps. And it was through you that I practiced my astrology craft, with my rainbow family. And at astrology levels, most of you are sort of familiar with astrobabble. You might not be like too great on the astroastrology itself. And then I've got my social media tribe. So I see you as like creatives, and you've really followed the development of my quantum astrology, which is something completely new for me. It's really only come about in the last couple of years. And most of you are like an astrology level of learning. And then finally, I've got what I call my entrepreneur tribe. And these are you're mostly conscious business owners. We've met through different coaching academies and trainings. And for most of you, like, you've never really even considered astrology before, but you're curious. And these last 2 groups, I've only known you in the last couple of years. So what I'd really like you to do is, you're going to have to do this in the Q&A, not the chat, is type yes in the chat. If you would like to get to the end of your life and say, wow, that was an amazing life. Just take a moment and put that in the chat for me. And the Q&A, I mean, sorry. You see, I can't see you, you can only see me. Oops, wrong one. So this webinar is going to be quite an experiential presentation. And there's 2 ways that you can choose to experience it. You can either choose to read the slides. Virtually everything I will say is written on the slides. And then you can just like listen to your own music or be silent. And I'm going to call you guys group 1, okay? And then, or you can just choose to listen to me and just let the slides be like artworks, So it almost a bit like you're having a story read to you. Remember as a child, when you'd have a story read to you and you just used to lie back and you could see the pictures and you could see the shapes of the writing, but really you're just engaged in that listening process. If you're in group 1, you are more likely the sort of child who wanted to read the book themselves. If you try and listen to me at the same time as reading the slides, your head is going to explode, because I won't be following the text word for word, okay? It's as much prompts for me, and sometimes I wonder. So you've got 60 seconds. Group 1, get into a quiet space or find some music that you would like to listen to play for over an hour. You might need a pen and paper and enjoy the concepts I'm going to present. Group 2, I want you to get really comfy in a nice armchair with a blanket and put the screen in such a way that you can see it, but you can't quite read the small print. You just see like the design of the screen, and the big words will jump out at you, and they'll be the ones that, you know, you might remember. So you've got 60 seconds just to get yourself together. I'm going to have a drink of my tea. Got licorice and peppermint. Licorice is really good for your mouth because it sort of almost moisturizes your mouth. And of course, it gives you that like sweet, nurturing sort of taste. Of course, some people don't like licorice. I love it. And then the peppermint just, you know, just gives you that little bit of alertness. Okay, cool. So I'm going to show you how you can create your best life by releasing your creative genius. Well, what do I mean by creative genius? Well, I mean what is sometimes called our intuition or our imagination, or some of us, you know, get downloads. That experience of accessing something, of something coming to you that just seemed to come beyond your thinking mind. Einstein talked about this. He said, you know, I didn't access anything new from my thinking mind. It all came from what I accessed from what I call the imaginal realm, the imagination. But all sorts of names, Akashic records, it can be anything. Loads of people got different names for it, different models. But a creative genius lives 24/7 in this state of being. And 98% of us lived in this state until the age of 7. But only about 2% of us live there now. So where are you? You know, it may be that you feel like you know you're here for a purpose, and it's like, but you just don't know what it is. Or it may be that you got this idea, it's like really clear in your mind, and you know like that this is what you really want to do, this is what you're passionate about, but you're just not quite sure how to launch it. Or maybe you've got this burning thing inside you, but you're really struggling to reach out to people. Or you're not feeling confident in your creativity. Or, and I've heard people say this, that when I say this is for spiritual people, and people say, I don't know if I am spiritual, but I'd like to be. This is for you as well. And it's for you if you know your past is holding you back. And also, maybe you feel like that you're just ruled by perfectionism and procrastination and fear. And of course, that will be holding you back as well. So where would you like to be? So I'd like you to close your eyes. And we're going to do a bit of visualization. And when we visualize where we want to be, and we feel the energy of that, then the universe is much more able to carry us to that destination, because our minds don't know the difference between what we imagine and what is real. So if we're imagining something, and you know, sometimes it's good just to imagine a feeling that you want to have, but you do want to feel it as well. You don't have to have the picture, but if you can picture it, fabulous. And the universe will do whatever it can to conspire to you getting there, providing you take the first step. So I want you to close your eyes. I want you to see yourself only doing what you love. and absolutely loving everything that you do. In fact, you love it so much, you don't even think about it. Like, you don't even think, God, I'm really loving what I do, because that causes such separation. You're just in the zone. You're just happy. So then imagine yourself in that flow, because that's when the magic is always happening. That's when the synchronicities and the lucky breaks and the perfect people and our wishes coming true, what I call a state of grace. That happens when we're in that state of flow. And imagine, like, you're just having constant inspiring ideas that you just love to do. And having had a day like this, a week, a month, a year of living in that flow with constant magic coming in, and it's just like everything is going right, and it's just amazing. It's just beautiful. Your life feels beautiful and joyful. And you get to the end of that day, and you get to the end of that week, and you get to the end of the month, and you get to the end of the year, and you get to the end of 10 years, and you go, wow, that was an awesome life. That was an awesome life. So how do you get from that experience of like feeling really stuck and like what I call self-limited, to feeling free and limitless, what I call being a creative genius? And I believe that you get there by following the wisdom of the stars. So what do I mean by the wisdom of the stars? I mean the science, the art, and the language of astrology, which is basically how the planets are influencing each other, how their magnetic, electric, gravitational fields are influencing each other, and the network that this creates around us that we live in. It's a bit like you think about, living in, Wi-Fi, and you know that there's this smog of radiation all around you. So it's a bit like that the planets are all talking to each other and creating these bonds with each other, and we're living in this network of their communication. So, sorry. Why is it important for you to release your creative genius? Well, I know that you are all purpose-driven change makers. I know that you all want to see change, that you all have a vision for this world, and that your mission is to succeed. And in order to succeed, you need a magnetic personality, creative power, and magical timing. The qualities of being a creative genius. And why is it important to release your creative genius now? Well, today's audiences, the market, they're looking for a magnetic connection. They're looking for people that they resonate with. And by releasing your creative power, you are going to stand out in a crowded market. And we all need to stand out in a crowded market, because we all have something to sell, even if that is only our wisdom. And in order to co-create this global future, this universal future, for us to co-create with ease, by releasing our creative genius, magic does happen. So what am I going to cover this evening? Well, I'm going to cover how to magnetically connect with your audience, how to get unstuck and release your creative power, and when is the best time to magically attract your next vision. Oh, sorry, it's going backwards. First, I'm going to tell you my story. So group one, if you are reading along, you might just want to listen to this for 5 minutes. So my story is called The Secret of Living is Giving. And a lot of the entrepreneurs watching this will recognize that phrase. And it's from castle turret to award-winning speaker. So I want to take you back. It's late autumn in 1986. And I'm in a teepee. We're in the mountains near Siena in Italy. Outside, there's a full moon and it's very cold. But inside the teepee, we have a fire. There's a fire. And there's several other people in the teepee. There's 2 women, they're partners. And there's 2 very small girls who are their children. One of the women is stirring a pot on top of the fire. It's the lentil dal that we're going to eat this evening. We always get lentil dal because we really aren't living hand to mouth. So we left Edinburgh a few weeks ago in a van, busking. The intention is to go around the world. I just got invited at the last minute to join them. And now we come down through France and we're in Italy, staying on some women's land. It's as frosty inside this teepee as it is outside. You could virtually cut the air with a knife. The tension is so palpable. Fortunately, the children don't seem to be noticing and they're just playing happily in the corner. But between us 3 adults, it's decidedly uncomfortable. I can tell that Ruth and Bridget have had a row. Another massive row. Bridget goes into her cave and Ruth seethes and looks for a victim. I'm her victim. She stares at me with her steely grey eyes. She's got that classic Celtic look with beautiful red Raphaelite hair and a very pale complexion with freckles. But she's got that quite a long face, you know, one of those faces looks a little bit horsey. And she's cut her hair into a Mohican. So she doesn't look beautiful and pre-Raphaelite. She looks nasty. She looks like the sort of area that she's grown up in and come from, the back streets of Glasgow. She almost spits at me. She's a Scorpio, and it feels like I'm being stung by a scorpion or being jumped at by a snake. What's wrong with you? You just sit there. You never say anything. You just look miserable all the time. What's wrong with you? Why can't you just be lively and friendly and jumpy and blah, blah, blah? You're just miserable all the time. In fact, you look like a frozen rabbit in the headlights. That's exactly how I feel. It's exactly how I feel. You know, out of fight, flight, and freeze, I'm definitely in freeze. I've been in freeze for a while. In fact, I've almost become selectively mute. I'm so frightened of this woman's sting. Look, Deborah, just go outside and sort yourself out. Come back when you feel better. Bit of a relief to get out of there. So I'm outside. Oh, wow, it's so beautiful. The full moon's really high in the sky and it's just so clear. The air is so clear. Like cold stream water. And the moon shining on the frost, like, you know, glittery. Absolutely beautiful. And these words come to me. And I just started like writing some little songs. It isn't easy to be three when you're the only one. It isn't easy to be free when you're the only one. And those words stayed with me. But have you ever felt like you just didn't know who you were anymore? I just didn't know who I was. I thought I'd gone mad. So about 2 years later, it's the end, late autumn again. In fact, it's nearly Christmas. Frosty, it's another full moon. And I'm in a castle. It's not this one, but it's similar. Right up in the turret on the 5th floor. It's a Victorian castle. It's not like a really ancient castle. And I'm on the Dumfries and Galloway coastline. And I'm in this little turret room. It's quite dark because the window is very small and high up. But if you look out of the window, you can see the coast, absolutely beautiful. And because the castle is up a bit from the sea level, you can just see so far. And on a good day, you can even see the mountains of the Lake District. It really is one of those magical places to be. But I feel horrendous. I feel absolutely awful. I am so sick. I just feel so ill. And I'm sat by this little fire in this, you know, those old black Victorian grates. I'm just sat huddled over this fire because there's no heating in this castle. There's no central heating. You just got little fires in these great big rooms. And I'm watching Lunchtime Neighbours. I got a bit addicted to that. And basically, I'm just here because the guy who lives here in this little flat in the castle said I could hang out here for a bit. Because I'm homeless. Was just been squatting in London. And I'm pregnant. And the father doesn't want to know. But that's okay. I'm quite happy doing this on my own. I just feel so bad. I just feel so ill. Oops, I can hear him coming up the stairs. He'll be just coming back from his football work. He teaches football in primary schools. Door swings open. Hello, 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 Deborah. And how are you today? Ooh, you look a bit green around the gills. Tell you what, I'm going to make some lunch. I'm going to make some of that yummy cheese on toast I do with banana and lime pickle. Do you think you could eat some? Good. Let's do that then. Neighbors, everybody loves good neighbors. He loves that tune. He's a musician and he says it's a really clever tune. I watch him as he stands at one of those little tiny camping gas type cookers, making our cheese on toast. He's not a very tall guy at all, maybe 5'2", 5'3", balding, but the most incredible, beautiful blue eyes. And a really, I love his nose. It's sort of almost straight, it's a bit like a Roman nose. And he's just a lovely, lovely guy. He's another Scorpio. Anyway, he's making a sandwich for us. Oh, bless him, bless him. Now he's sitting down. You know what, Deborah? Has anybody ever done your star map for you? No, definitely not. I don't really know anything about astrology. Would you like me to? Would you like me to look at your star map? I was like, yeah, that'd be cool. Thank you. So he starts beavering away. He's got calculators, he's got pen and paper and endless books, and he's flicking through all the pages and writing, scribbling down numbers and drawing and getting a compass and drawing circles on a piece of paper. And about an hour and a half later, he says, right, here you go. And he shows me this piece of paper with all it didn't mean anything to me. It was just circles and lines and squiggles. And he said, right, what this shows is where all the planets were at the moment that you were born. And it is unique. Nobody else has a star map exactly the same as yours. And he said, and what I realize is you've been having your Saturn return. Okay. Saturn takes 29.5 years to go all the way around the sun. So everybody who is about 29.5 has their Saturn return. It's just for some people, it might only last 6 months. And for other people, it can last 2 years. And yours has lasted 2 years. And that is why you have felt so bad for all this time. Like you just felt like almost paralyzed with fear because Saturn rules fear. He said, but it's coming to an end now. You're coming out of it now. And then he said the most extraordinary thing. He said, and he looked at me with his beautiful blue eyes. And he said, you know, Deborah, and he pulled a book off the shelf and he turned some pages. He said, you've got Venus and Mercury right on top of each other at 11.5 degrees of Pisces. Yeah, okay. And this book says that you would make an extraordinary astrologer. Whoa. Has anyone ever told you something about your creative genius that changed your life forever? So he's showed me how to draw a star map. His friends would come around, I'd do theirs, I'd talk to them about it. And then I saw an advert in a researcher's magazine for an astrology diploma. I loved the advert, it was really colourful. And 7 years later, with 2 small children, I gained my diploma in astrological psychological counselling. And since then, along with, because when I discovered that diploma course, I also discovered the Rainbow Astrology camps. So I had the 2 of them working together side by side. So I had the teaching and I had somewhere to practice. And I have read thousands of star charts, star maps. And I've absolutely thoroughly enjoyed about 30 years of teaching. I even taught for the school where I did my diploma, writing, designing workshops and retreats. But I realized that it was just all growing so slowly. I was ready. I felt ready that I had something to offer that was special, and I wanted to take it out further. And then coincidentally came across an online business training in July of 2020. And they talked about being a digital nomad. I live in a van. I wanted a digital business, felt like a good fit. So I did that. And from that, one thing led to another. And I was finding I was investing really large sums of money for coaching that was completely inspiring me. And that these coaches, the biggest thing was that they believed in me. They saw something that I couldn't see. And now I love nothing more than believing in others until we pass it all along. Because the secret of living is giving. The more we give, the better we live. And now, wow, I'm an award-winning speaker. I'm being invited by TV and event producers, and I'm living my best life. So, how can you release your creative genius with the wisdom of the stars? Fast, because it's got to be fast. Okay, we haven't got time to wait around anymore. So let me show you how. So it starts with 5 stars: soul, science, service, spirituality, and sovereignty. And this is my 5-star skills level map with the 5 systems I have developed in order to work with each of those levels. But today we're just going to look at 3, because that would take forever to go through all that. 3 stars to release your creative genius. So 1 comes from star 2, that's science. And this is, we're using the North Star Navigator. Then we have star 4, spirituality, where we're using the Star Seed Seminary system. And then we have star 5, sovereignty, where we use the Creative Genius Generator. Oops, wrong way again. So on the left, star 2 of the, whatever it's called, acronym thing, star, we're going to look at S, the self. In star 4, from seed, we're going to look at one of the E's, energy. And in star 5, genius, we're going to look at your gnomon, or your biorhythm. A gnomon's that black thing on top of the sundial. It points where you're going. And that's what your biorhythm is all about. It's pointing where you are going. So what do I mean by self? Well, what you show to the world, your magnetic connection. What do I mean by energy? How you vibrate with the world, your creative power. And what do I mean by biorhythm? Where you are in your growth, where you are in your process, your magical attraction. And the wisdom of the stars starts with your unique star map. So here's an example of a star map. So this one is mine. And it represents the sky at the moment that I was born. And there's 5 levels, which sort of roughly correspond to the 5 stars I was talking to you about earlier. So you've got the center level, which is our connection with everything, the sense of oneness. That's why it's left empty. And then you've got these colored lines going on around it. You remember I talked about the planets talking to each other and like living in this sort of energetic cosmic web? Well, that's what that is. That was what was going on in the moment that I was born. Then you've got some funny little glyphs around the inner circle. These represent the planets, where the planets were, and they're like our subpersonalities. And then you've got the big, bold, colorful zodiac signs, which is the band of the zodiac that sits around our solar system. And they represent the characteristics or the dressing up clothes that the planets put on. And then finally, on the outside, you have some numbers, and these represent what are called the houses, and they represent the environment that we live in, or that the planets are playing out in. So let's start with star 1, or strictly speaking, it's star 2. I forgot to change that. But anyway, so the first thing, know yourself. How do successful people connect with others? Well, they do it through magnetism. That's how everything gets attracted to things. You know, there's this sort of magnetic connection. We are magnetic beings, yeah? And the thing is that what makes us magnetically attractive is because we are able to be our authentic selves and stand in our authority. And that is so attractive. Have you ever been like to a party where somebody is telling you about their favorite hobby and they obviously love it so much, and they're describing it in such an amazing way that you just can't help but like be interested, even though it's like something completely out of your ken? That's somebody standing in their authority and loving it, enjoying it, and being really authentic. That's a creative genius there. So what is the first impression that you create? And why is magnetic connection so important? Well, you need to stand out. We all need to be unique. You know, when we all lived in tiny little villages of 120 people, we were all unique. But now we live in a world of 8 million people all connected on the internet as one like huge village, and nobody's unique anymore. So we need to be as unique as we can. Also, we need to be honest with who we are, because we need to develop trust. People want to trust us. They must trust us. And if we're not honest with ourselves, then, you know, it's a bit like, can I really trust this person? Also, we need to own up to our experience, because the thing is that we're all like really, really experienced. We've all had, you know, years of experience living on this planet. We all have something to say. We all have something that we really know about. And people need that. They need like, oh, this person knows about what I'm going through, and they're maybe only one step ahead, but it's enough. And when we're able to offer that to people, it's like they are able to use us as a rock. It's like a point of stability in their life. Yeah, that they can, you know, it's like that is there and I can hang on to this. I always imagine the minister in Titanic, and he's got all the people hanging on to his leg when the ship's going down, and they're all hanging on because they believe that's the way I'm going to get to heaven, through this person. I trust this person so much. But what do I see people doing wrong? Well, they're trying to be everything to everyone. Don't just be nice to everyone. And the result is you're too generic, and it causes a lot of confusion. It makes a lot of stress for yourself, and you're not going to attract many people to you. And what you should be doing instead, you have to know your unique self. And it's weird how much of ourselves we don't actually know, that we've buried somewhere way, way back. And the result is that we are then able to be authentic and to stand in our authority. And it makes life a lot more fun. We feel a lot more aligned. We feel like we're on purpose, and we get our perfect clients to work with. So the first thing we're going to do is look at the cave. Sorry, it looks like the word cave has jumped to the next line. Never mind. So we're going to look at the star map as a cave. And what is it that people first meet when they meet you at the entrance to your cave? So if you can see the little blue cursor, that's the entrance to the cave. And this big gray C is the cave. So this is my star map. When people first meet me, they meet this planet called Uranus. Now, Uranus is one of the transpersonal planets, so it's not something I've got like, you know, I can talk to or I can control. It's something way out there. And its highest facet is universal intelligence, universal creativity. But on its own, it can seem quite aloof. It can definitely feel very eccentric and like, you know, like, whoa, you know, like literally, where has this person landed from? And also, one of the things I've noticed over the last couple of years, it seems to have something to do with the light that I emanate. So when people first meet me, that's what they're meeting. They're meeting Uranus. But you know, that's all the way out there. I'm not really aware of that Uranian character because I'm down here in my sun, which is my mind. And my mind is in the bottom, at the back of the cave, you know, in that puddle at the back of the cave where it's really dark and you're not quite sure where you are. That's my sun, is down there. And I'm like, no, I'm just hiding. You know, I just don't want to be very noticed. Do you know, it took me years. In fact, really only recently. But everybody sees this. Everybody's seeing that. I can't hide. You know, and so it's like, okay, I have to embrace it. I have to embrace that. I have to embrace that aspect of myself, that is what people are meeting. And yeah, when they get to know me a bit better, come in the back of the cave with me. We'll bring some candles. So, very useful thing to know, eh? So I'd like you to meet Matt, my wingman tonight. One of the funniest guys I know. He's hilarious. His passion is working out. So he likes sort of like, you know, hoodie type clothes and things like that. He began to experience depression quite a few years ago and gave up his, and it was an engineering type job because he wanted to help other people who were experiencing challenges with their mental health as well. And he now has a clothing brand and a coaching program to support people who are experiencing poor mental health. So Matt was Matt was a complete and utter astrology skeptic. But I wanted to practice doing some astrology with skeptical entrepreneurs. And here's Matt's star map. By the way, guys, I'm not going to get finished at 8. And the time of the location of his birth. Now, his challenge was that he felt shy about coming forward as a mental health coach. Why would anyone want to listen to him? And his aha moment was seeing his chart as a cave and understanding where he sits in his cave. And as you can see, all but one thing are right over in the left-hand side of his cave. So when people meet him, this isn't even a planet. Yes, they meet this lovely person who's learned how to put a lovely, polite, really welcoming persona because they are a really lovely person, but they're right squashed up at the back of their cave, a bit like a snail would completely retreat into its shell. When Matt realized that this was what was going on, you can imagine, just made so much sense. So first exercise, where are you in your cave? I want you to stretch out your arms to create a circle, your comfort zone, sphere. How big is your circle? Is it quite tight? Is it quite small? Like you're right up there in your entrance of your cave. You're quite happy to like be out there in the world and meeting people. Or is it absolutely huge and you're right at the back and the entrance is as far away from you as you can get? An interesting thing. How close will you let people in? So that ends part 1, know yourself. Part 2, how to get unstuck and release your creative genius. You have to know your energy. Because what clients want is stability and certainty. They need to know that they can rely on this person, that they are going to be like a rock for them. So what is your energy like? And why is it important to know your own energy? Well, quantum mechanics tells us that we attract according to our own energy vibration. Be that people, objects, or opportunities. So that's another reason we need to know what our energy is like. What do I see people doing wrong? I see them like blaming others. I'm sure most of you don't do this, but you know what I mean. Blaming others or external circumstances for why things are not going right, or using very limited language, you know, like I can't, or, you know, that's what I've got to, I need to. Or just failing to use their gifts. You wouldn't believe how many adults I talk to with their star maps. And I say, looks like you were great at singing. You're great at singing. And they go, well, I was when I was a kid. I haven't done it for years. You know, it's like not using our God-given gifts. So what should you be doing instead? You should be living with your creative genius and co-creating. Because when we rise to that creative genius level and we raise our energy vibration, and we listen to the wisdom of the stars, then we are likely to be co-creating with the universe. We're likely to be more in flow. And we're also taking responsibility for our universe. If something's not great, we're going, oh, what's that going on in my head that I'm manifesting that? And then you have magnetic power. So how do you transform your vibration? So going back to my chart, and we're not going to look at all the planets. I just want to look at one, Saturn. You remember I talked about Saturn as my Saturn return. Everybody has it at 29.5. And Saturn is right at the top of my chart. I know it doesn't look like it's at the top, but it is right at the top of my chart. So it's really like this thumb pressing down on me. And Saturn wants to keep us safe, but it can often just do that from our monkey brain, from our unconscious brain, and just say, no, don't bother doing that. You might fail. No, don't do that. It's too dangerous. No, just stay safe. Just stay safe. But if we can raise its vibration, it's amazing at planning. So the other thing, this one represents the sun, this one represents the moon. And all the planets work at different levels. So the whole spectrum from the really lowest vibration to the really highest vibration. But I tend to see it as 3. So at the very lowest vibration, it's like completely unconscious. It's like ice. The molecules are not moving. They're just stuck. They're just solid, very low vibration. And then it sort of starts to wake up a little bit, and you're like, maybe I do have some responsibility in the world. And it's sort of like the molecules are beginning to let go of each other, put a bit of energy in, it's becoming water, starting to flow a bit more. And you got like what I call a medium vibration. And then you put a lot of energy into it. You put a lot of attention on your vibration. And suddenly the molecules are able to release from each other and become steam. And then they can go anywhere. They're just free to travel. And that's freedom. I can tell you that is freedom. To live at that vibration of all your subpersonalities. And it's Saturn and Pluto who are usually the problems. And why is vibration so important? Well, because we are co-creators of the universe and we are part of that universal energy. When we raise our vibration, we raise the whole vibration. And that is creative power. So meet Jason. He's one of the most spiritually connected people I know. He loves nature and being creative. Now, he gave up a very lucrative role in the world of finance to follow his heart. And he's now a career clarity coach, and he teaches other corporates how to reconnect with their sense of wonder. That experience you get, you know, when you're out in nature. So here's Jason's star map. And his challenge was that he just wasn't having much fun in his entrepreneurial journey. He was doubting his own sense of wonder and creativity and spiritual connection, and it was weighing him down. In fact, it was almost frightening him. And when we talked about his star map, and we looked in particular at Saturn over here, sitting with his creative genius planets, the best ones for your creative genius, he could see that although he had this deep spiritual connection, that he was disempowering himself with his beliefs about his early experiences, because all this restriction comes from the beliefs in our early experiences. The thing, you know, the things that we picked up when we were really little in order to keep ourselves safe. That's what Saturn does. So we came up with this really fun activity for him to go out into the world, do with his young voice. He'd be working with his lad, and he would be releasing his creative genius. Oopsie, sorry, Jason. So exercise 2. Imagine that you've just been given really bad news, not too bad, but what does it feel like in your body? You feel yourself sort of just like collapsing in on yourself. Feels very sort of like low vibration, doesn't it? Now imagine you've been given great news, like winning the lotto. And see how your spine straightens up, you sit up, you smile, you put your shoulders back, and you feel great, and you feel like you're floating. That's high vibration. And we can put ourselves into a high vibration state whenever we want, just by imagining good news. So bad news and thoughts, collapsing, low vibration. Great news and thoughts, energized, high vibration. And that is the magnetic connection, because people are attracted to the vibration that we want to be at. Yeah. So if you want, like, you know, to bring high vibration people towards you, then you got to be, it's like we have to be as high vibration as we can to really help and to co-create. So you got to know your energy. But before I teach magical chiming by knowing your unique biorhythm, I have a gift for you. So for everyone who watches this, for the next month, you have a free membership to the Starlight Lounge, where you will get a daily Wisdom of the Stars tip. And it's posted about midday every day. And if you follow that tip for the day, it will help you raise your vibration and get you in alignment with the wisdom of the stars. And now I'm going to take you a few minutes just to show you how over the next month you can release your creative genius with the wisdom of the stars. Oops, wrong one. You've done that one. So how it works. Step 1, you'd have a 90-minute astrological consultation with me, and where we'll deep dive into your star map, identifying your next best steps to release your creative genius, to be magnetic, powerful, and magical. This is a personal Zoom call with me. And during that, we will agree a little plan. It's usually only 1 or 2 little things for you to implement in your life. Then the next best things that you need. And about 4 weeks later, we'll have another reading where we'll review the progress you've made and ask, what is your next best step to live your creative genius? And from here, you have a choice. You can either continue on your own way. You've got a great piece of information to work with. You can stay on as a member of the Starlight Lounge, or you can even come and immerse yourself in a creative genius retreat. with me. So you may be wondering if the wisdom of the stars is right for you. And it is for you if you need to be free. Oops, sorry, darling. If you need to be free, then this is for you. It is for you if you feel like you're stepping out of your past and right into your future. And it is for you if you are in love with flowers. It's all about the sacred geometry. And it is for you if you believe in magical flow. And it's for you if you would love the people who you serve to be your best friends, your tribe. Oops. Oh no, I've lost them all. Oh, sorry, guys. All right. Have a little breather. I've jumped. The slides have all jumped. Have a little stretch. Blink your eyes. We're nearly done. Have a little drink. Just winding this on. Take a few deep breaths. Beautiful castle. Secret of living is giving. Oops, come on. I think I need a clicker. Good little review of the slides. So it is for you if you believe in magical flow. And if it is for you, if you'd love the people you serve to be your best friends, to be your tribe, your family. And it is for you if you believe in heart-led faith. Oops. And it is for you if you want to enjoy more focus. And focus apparently is the #1 topic for 2023 in international speaking circuits. But it's not for you if you believe that you can't change fast. You're going to struggle if you believe you can't change fast. And it is not for you if you're not willing to put yourself first. It's a bit like in an aeroplane, you know, when you put your oxygen mask on, you always put your own on first before you put your children's on. And it's not for you if you believe that you can't change. Oh, I had that one. Sorry, gone backwards again. And it's not for you if you won't believe that your unique creative contribution to the world is fundamental. It is for you if you believe in magnetic frequency. And it is for you if you are ready to adventure in the infinite quantum field. And it is for you if you want to be more fun and fab. So this is a completely unique experience. You're probably getting that. And why is it unique? Because with 2 consultations, you have the time to reflect and make changes and review. Most people would just have 1 reading. And what makes this completely unique is that by investing in your personal star map coaching, you become a member of the Starlight Lounge, where every fortnight I host a group call to interpret for each individual the next piece of information you need from the wisdom of the stars to get you through the next 2 weeks. And we call this astrological bingo. And because you're watching this webinar, you are all welcome to take part in the next 2 astrological bingos over the next month. And even more, the wisdom of the stars method has now been developed for the past 30 years. And it is, as far as I know, the only astrological consultancy using quantum energy. So by this investing in yourself, an opportunity of this quality would usually be about £500. But because I believe that releasing our creative genius is imperative for a successful and meaningful life, this investment is only £300. And a surprise, to say thank you for investing your time to be the best that you can be, I have a special discount for you, which I will reveal after star 3, your biorhythm, how to work with magical timing. Know when is the best time to launch your next vision. In order to do this, you have to know your biorhythm. So we've now built on these creative genius skills. You need the inspiration followed by the action, and then you need the timing. And why is it important to know your biorhythm? Well, life is speeding up. I'm sure you were experiencing that as well. And timing is everything. Oh, so I am so sorry. It's gone backwards again. Oh, has it? Oh, I'm getting in a muddle now. Right. But what I see entrepreneurs doing wrong is trusting to chance, or prevaricating, or delaying. So what we do is we use the star map as a clock. It's called the age clock. And it starts over here in the 9 o'clock position. It's got one hand on the clock, which goes round anti-clockwise. And it takes 6 years to go through each of these pie segments. So these are the ages here. So have a look. And where do you sit on this clock? Do you sit on one of these numbers, or do you sit somewhere in between? Just make a note of where you are. Oh, come on, darling. So from one age to the other age that you saw, there is a 6-year energy curve. On these ages, the energy is very out. Okay, it's out in the world. And then as the clock moves towards the next 6-year age, it goes on a downward trajectory and it becomes much more inner. So if you know anything about the golden ratio or golden mean in art, it's divided like this: 2 years and 4 months, 1 year and 4 months, 2 years and 4 months. So I'm going to give you an instruction, then I'll come back to this slide. So exercise 3, where are you in your 6-year energy curve? So what age are you now? And how many years and months since your last out age? So it will be a multiple of 6, yeah? So how many years and months since then? And where does this place you in the curve? I will go back. Does it place you in the first bit? Are you just within 2 years and 4 months of that age? Or are you more than halfway to the next age? Or are you within 2 years and 4 months of the next age? Yeah. So you're either in the first section, the second section, or the third section. If you're here at one of the outs, then you're in the first, okay? So the first third is like initiating energy. So we're naturally outwardly directing. It's a great time to launch a project for maximum visibility. And the key ages are birth, 18, 36, 54, and 72, but any multiple of 6 is good. The second third is like the building energy. So the outward and inward forces are in balance. And it's a great time to work on a project for maximum durability. And the key age in our whole life for this is age 26 to 27. The last third is what's called the mutable phase. And it's the really like the inward facing phase. And it's about reflection and review. It's a time to adjust and realign and prepare for the next out or initiating phase. And the key inward phase for our whole life is age 45 to 47. Most people who come to me for astrology readings are age 45 to 47. And then, remember I talked about Saturn twice now, and about Saturn coming back to that place where it was at the age of our birth. Everybody undergoes this, the 2 Saturn returns if you live long enough. Exactly, everybody does it. And the key ages are 29 to 30 and 56 to 58. Yeah, the Saturn return ages. So there's a lot more to where you sit in your energy curve, particularly in terms of what planets the clock is going over. But that is such a beautiful little tool you can take away and do even without astrology. But I'd like you to meet Małgosia. She's a very hardworking mother of 2, transitioning from the corporate world of insurance to entrepreneur as an artist agency. Małgosia consults the wisdom of the stars regularly for the best timing of her business decisions. So her challenge when she came to me was that she was 45, remember that age, 45, 47 when we first met, and she felt stuck in a job that she didn't like, but she was so afraid to go for her dream because the family needed that income. She was the main breadwinner. And then she had this aha moment when she saw her chart and we looked at her clock, because we could see there was an opportunity coming up for her about 6 months down the line. And when we discussed it, we realized it was such a creative opportunity. And she decided to ride that wave. She already had a little seed germinating in her imagination. And we were like, go for it. And then on our next call, whoopsie, okay. Oh, sorry. And then on our next call, she'd done it. It all happened. And within months, she was being an artist agent, starting with her husband, which is what her dream was. That was what she really wanted to do. So exciting. So what have we covered today? We've covered how to know yourself using the cave, magnetic connection, how to know your energy using vibration, your creative power, and how to know your biorhythm using the age clock, your magical timing. So what happens next? So you're going to get an email inviting you to join the Starlight Lounge. Make sure you check your spam for 1 month free as a thank you for attending. You'll also get in there, in the Starlight Lounge, you will get the daily tips that will help you navigate the stars every single day, navigate the energies, the turbulence, to take the opportunities that are presenting that day. You won't believe how fast your life will change once you start doing this. And you get to play Astrological Bingo, where I will offer you your own personal little tidbit for the next 2 weeks. In the email, you will also have the opportunity to book a free call with me to see how you could benefit from releasing your creative genius with the wisdom of the stars. And Another free gift for everyone in the email. If you send me your birth details, I will send you your own personal star chart. So you can have a look at your own cave, you can have a look at your own clock, and you can see where Saturn is. That's the one that looks like a H with a little cross on it. Whoopsie. And this email will also contain the recording of this webinar. Please, please feel free to share if you have enjoyed it. And, oops, I nearly forgot. As a thank you for attending, your star map reading is only £200 because I love you all. You are wonderful, you are marvelous, and I thank you. Oopsie, wrong way. Thank you so much. So I look forward to working with your creative genius. Love you all. Thank you. If you'd like to stay on longer, I'm going to end the recording and we can have a Q&A.